All right, you are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 New York Jets. Why are the New York Jets 0-16? Because they suck. Only one Super Bowl. Haven't won a Super Bowl in the 68th season. Oh my God. Ooh, over 50 years. Never won a Super Bowl. How many Super Bowl over 55 years? Oh, that's a bad team. Welcome to anybody out there at all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. For anybody going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might want to be, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free, fire away with the comments. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. Description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and a third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys, but if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed, thank you. Maybe give this video a thumbs up or share this video. That would be freaking awesome. And then finally, just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links, right? The top one's a Facebook link. I'll go over that one in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change. I'm too much of an idiot to have to think and adapt and all that stuff. The link on it, it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It will always be Twitter to me. I'm one of them get off my lawn type old-time farts, right? It's a Twitter link. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants me to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it Twitter. You know why? Because it's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day, and then finally the link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. We're over 8,600 members in the group, and basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well, too. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, I was I watched Hard Knocks 1 once again. I just got about halfway through. That's why I'm a little late here. Not that anybody's watching, anybody cares right this particular moment, but I was watching about halfway through Hard Knocks 2 once again. Because I always see it the first time, and then I always remember certain things, and then you see it the second time. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But there's an article here that talks about it goes over 11 things, I think it is, that we learned from Hard Knocks. There's a bunch of them and all, but it's just some good, solid information. Gotta really love. I'm really looking forward to obviously episodes 3, 4, and 5. See where it goes, but it kind of gives you a little behind the scenes and all that and everything. It it's kind of it goes to show you how difficult it can be. Especially being a quarterback, because when Dable was drilling those guys, like he was drilling Maye, Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, and Caleb Williams when they had their meetings at the with the combine, asking them to go over different plays and stuff like that and everything. And I think McCarthy was up there drawing up the verbiage for one of the plays. It was just like, holy cow. I mean, it was just absolutely crazy. But I mean, these guys do that obviously on a consistent basis, so it's not that big of a deal to them. I mean, to do it to me or the average Joe, you start looking at some of this verbiage, it's like, oh my God, what the? I mean, man, when I was a quarterback and I'm in high school, I wasn't good or not like that. We had a play that was called 929, 3 numbers. That was it. Basically, it was like the formation, the player that got the ball, what hole he was running to. There you go, 929. It was the 9 formation. The second, the bat, whatever it was, he's the one that got the ball, and the 9 we ran it. Obviously, it was way out to the left. There you go. We had 121, we had 129, 921, 920. I mean, just, other ones too. But, I mean, just absolutely amazing. I mean, the stuff that they got to go through nowadays just to call play. And, I mean, they got 35, 40 seconds to call a play. I mean, it's like, sometimes it almost seems like they're going to spend like 30 seconds just calling the play. And it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And then the thing is, they call the play in. He's got to relay it to the guys, right? And they get up to the line of scrimmage, and then he's got to check. Then they got to do the protection and all that. Sees what kind of coverage he thinks he's getting. Maybe make some checks at the line. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. But then again, that's one of the reasons why the quarterbacks make the big bucks they do. Then they got to stand in the pocket. Hopefully they don't get their heads ripped off. Then they got to try to complete a pass. Good luck, right? But there's still a lot going on here. A lot of stuff going on. But the Giants, I don't see this happening. I mean, once again, it's just like people just making, I don't know. It says the New York Giants are favored to land this 4-time Pro Bowl defender. I don't see why they would. Why? I really don't see that. They're not in a win now mode. The guy's, was he 31? I think he's 31. I mean, he's on the back end of his career. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it, but yeah, we'll see. This is from Yard Barker. Giants says here, Giants went 6-11 last season despite having made the playoffs, en route to upsetting the Vikings in the wild card in 2022. Absolutely. They lost Saquon, leaving beleaguered starting quarterback Daniel Jones with an utter lack of playmakers around him. New York did draft LSU wideout Malik Nabers. Oh, yeah. The number 6 overall pick. Nabers had 1,569 yards and 14 touchdowns in 2023, but there's no guarantee he will become a star at the next level. Wow. No, you're right. There's absolutely no guarantee, but if I'm betting on it, I'm betting he'll be a star. Yeah. But once again, is it 100% guaranteed? Absolutely not. Therefore, if the Giants are to have any chance of returning to the playoffs in an improved NFC, yeah. I mean, you figure, the Eagles, the Eagles lost some. The Eagles gained some. The Eagles lost. We got to remember also the Eagles, there is no salary cap there. The Eagles are, there's a few teams out there that, the Eagles are the leader of the pack, right? Well, there is no salary cap. It doesn't matter. Don't matter. They got like however many. You look at all this, some of the stars they got and all of that, and it doesn't matter. They bring in whoever they want. Don't matter. Pay the guy whatever they want, whatever makes him happy. Just put 332,000 void years on the end of the contract and just stretch the contract out 552 light years, and they got themselves a ball player. So there is no, salary cap in Philadelphia. But the Giants. I'm not so sure about bringing in Xavier Howard. They have a few studs on defense, including Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, but they could use help in the secondary. And there is a 4-time Pro Bowl cornerback available in free agency by the name of Xavier Howard. Now, Xavier's best days are behind him. Okay. According to one sports book, the Giants are currently the betting favorites to land the former Miami Dolphins star. Giants may need to go all in on defense. Okay. Howard just turned 31. Okay, did turn there. All right. And while his numbers have dropped somewhat over the last couple of years, which they have, he still seems to be a serviceable defensive back. He recorded 12 passes defense in 13 games in 2023. And he allowed a 81.3 passer rating when the man he was covering was targeted on a pass attempt. And this was last year, right? So, obviously this is, this year's, he's going to, as recently as 2020, though, but we're going back a few years. He led the NFL in passes defended with 20 and interceptions with 10. I mean, that's a special year right there. There's no doubt about that. I'm going to go over his PFF numbers, especially that year. In fact, he led the league in the latter category twice in his 8-year pro career. When the Giants won 6 of their first 7 games and made the playoffs in 2022, they did so largely with defense. Their overall defensive metrics on the year weren't super impressive, but they found success by making games ugly. They ended up holding their opponents to 20 or fewer points 9 times that season. New York has a new defensive, obviously, Shane Bowen, who led the role with Tennessee the last 3 seasons. In 2 of those seasons, Tennessee ended up ranking either first or second in rushing yards allowed. But I'm not sure if bringing in Xavier Howard is going to have any effect on that. A category which the Giants were 29th in the past season. They were absolutely putrid. And I'll tell you what, they weren't. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what their ranking was in 2022, but it was not very good either. Until they can find an upgraded quarterback over Jones, the Giants need to go all in on defense. Why? In order to be competitive and have a shot at reaching the postseason, all in on defense. What to try to? I don't get it. I mean, they have to go all in it so that they can shut everybody out and win 1-0. I mean, what? I don't know. But with Xavier Howard now, last season by PFF. So I'm going by here, okay? And I don't know what his contract might wind up being, what he would ask for or whatever. That I don't know. But what do we got? He graded out of 55 last season, all right? He was a 59.2 in 2022. He was a 70.9 in 2021, and he was an 87.3 in 2020. That was that year where he led the league. 1 year and 10 interceptions and 20 passes defense. Special season. His coverage grade in 2020 was an 89.6. Really good. Really, really good. But I mean, 2020, his PFF grade, 2020, 87. 2021, 70.9. 2022, 59.2. 2023, 55.1. It just keeps coming down. So, let's see. He missed a couple games last year. Nothing too much. He played 743 snaps last season. The 2 prior years in 2022 and 2021, he played over 1,000 snaps. 2020 played over 900 snaps. So he's played a lot of snaps. 2017, he played over 1,000 snaps. He's well experienced. Right? And I said, because of his age and all that and everything, I'm sure he wouldn't wind up breaking the bank. Would it be somebody that they bring in Xavier Howard and add some depth? Yeah, but he's 31. I mean, he's on. It seems like he's on the decline. Why are you going to bring somebody in pay him a couple $1 million and just? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of other guys out there, who could probably do just as well. maybe cheaper. It could be younger. And if they seem to do good in the Bowen system, right? Well, then you sign the younger guys. I mean, we're not signing Howard to a 4-year deal, we bring him in for 1 year. It's like the Giants really aren't in a position, I don't think, to bring guys in. I don't want to be no news flash, but we're not pushing for a Super Bowl this season. Okay. I don't know why you would bring a 31-year-old in, right, and just bring him in for one season and just like let him. I don't know. I think, what we would like, to do is we got some young pups there. Let's see if any of these guys can thrive and survive in the Shane Bowen system. After, as I said, after the season's over with, right? Let's get Phillips out there. Let's get Newman out there. Let's get the young boys out there can fly. If he's going to be the outside corner, I'll have to wait and see. Let's see what these guys can do in Bowen's system after the season's over with. The smoke clears, the dust settles, right? Let's see, where the Giants want to go. Do we got Banks. They were talking about maybe putting Azeez Ojulari out there and have him being the money backer on third down, right? In the middle of the field. Inside backers on third down. But he's talking about putting Azeez Ojulari maybe covering the second wide receiver or right? Not the main wide receiver, but putting Azeez Ojulari out there. So, we got Holmes, right? Darnay Holmes. We got Flott. What's Phillips going to do, right? So, let's see what we got for some of these young guys. I mean, the thing is, you don't want to keep drafting and bringing these guys in and stuff like that. It's like you're keeping them on the sideline. No, draft them, see what they got. And after the season's over with, you step back and it's like, how did we do this year? How did we do on the Bowen system, right? If everybody's still around, meaning Shane's still around, Dable's still around, of course, then Bowen will still be around, what do we need? Right? I mean, we got our 2 edge rushers. We got Dexter Lawrence. We could probably use another tackle. How did the safeties do? Do we need an upgraded safety, or maybe could use some depth at safety? How did the interior linebackers do? I mean, I'm sure that, with Okereke there, as long as he stays healthy, I'm sure, going to do pretty good. But how did the corners do? Do we need an upgrade there? I mean, maybe Simmons was good in the slot. Banks was okay outside, but we need, or whatever. I mean, Simmons was good. Phillips was good. Banks was good. Holmes was good on special teams, but on defense now, I think we're going to try to just let him go, maybe replace him, maybe in the draft or something like that. Flott was, if anything, we want to maybe replace that. But I mean, so that's after the season over. I'm bringing in Xavier Howard. I mean, I can see, a team. It was either it's like just maybe totally decimated in the cornerback position, or somebody who could use some depth at cornerback. Bring somebody like him in on relatively cheap because maybe they're have Super Bowl aspirations. Okay, I can see that, but I mean, for the Giants to bring him in for a year, I mean, it's like doesn't make much sense to me. Giants are trying to go young. They're drafting. I want to see what these guys can do on. I don't know. Bring that guy in and just have him sitting on the bench doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah. Or bring him in and put him in the starting lineup. That doesn't make much sense to me either. So I don't know. Once again, sometimes you get these reports and people just start talking. It's like they're betting. I mean, maybe they are the betting favorite. I don't know. I don't know who's coming up with these odds and all that stuff and everything. But Giants picking up Xavier Howard doesn't make much sense to me. All right. Then the Giants, I don't know, it was like every other day maybe or something like that. They're talking about, I guess, the maybe, we got the countdown, the top 100 players of all time. So we, was it 2 nights ago, was it? Right? It was Tuesday. Yeah. I did on the video. Also, the Giants.com, they talked about players from 100 to 91. Well, they just released 90 to 81. Okay. And so I got number 90 here. It's Aaron Thomas. Aaron Thomas. Now, he was like, I guess probably pretty much like the, I don't want to say original, but I mean, the one of the better original first tight ends the Giants kind of had. He came over in 1962. He got drafted. He played his first season in 61 with the 49ers. The Giants traded for him. Now, it could have been, obviously, because that's why Tittle came from the 49ers as well, too. But Tittle never played with him in San Francisco. But we wound up bringing him over, and he was a solid, very solid player for the Giants, especially after 63. He was a solid player on some bad teams, because he came over in 62. Well, 62 and 63 we went to the championship games, but then after 64, it was kind of that downhill after there. We started heading into the wilderness years. And then his last season was 1970. But we when he wound up leaving, we were still in a very good place because that was Bob Tucker's rookie season. And Bob Tucker took us into the 70s. So, but Aaron Thomas was a very, very good, dependable tight end for the Giants. Absolutely. He just passed away about 3 months ago. Yeah, shame. Or shame. But I always remember his last season. His last season was 1970, as I said. I remember that because that was the first season I was watching football. I remember watching football. But it says Aaron Thomas, originally a fourth-round pick here by the 49ers in the 61 NFL draft. Aaron Thomas was traded to the Giants just 2 games into the 1962 season. He followed another former 49ers player, Kwity Paye, who had been acquired just a year before. Thus begun a formidable partnership between the tight end and quarterback. Thomas went on to catch 35 touchdowns for the Giants, a franchise record at the position that stands more than a half a century after he last played in 1970. It just goes to show you. We had Jeremy Shockey. I said we had Bob Tucker. Mark Bavaro. We've had some good tight ends, and that record still stands. Let's see here. His 117 games played or second only to Howard Cross, who played in 207, among Giant tight ends, and his 247 receptions still ranks 5th. Now, of course, you got to remember, the Giants were not a very good offensive team for some of those seasons. A lot of it was a running league back then. You'll also look at the amount of receptions he had, and how many yards he had, and how many touchdowns. Well, that was only a 14-game schedule, too. All right, so Tom's 17.2 yards per reception is the 3rd highest average in team history among those with a minimum of 200 receptions. Regardless of position, he trails wide receivers Homer Jones, who holds the NFL record with 22.3 yards per catch, and Del Schaffner at 18.1. Now, interestingly, Aaron Thomas, it just goes to show you, though, it's how the Giants, had these 3 phenomenal receivers in the 60s. These were all guys from the 60s, and they still couldn't even make a playoff, right? But Giant 60. Homer Jones was played in the 60s. They say 22.3 yards of reception. Giants get Del Schaffner. He played in the 60s, 18.1 yards of reception. And, of course, Aaron Thomas, 7. He played from 62 to 70, 17 points. So they got some guys back then that could, I'm not going to say fly. I'm not saying that, except for Homer Jones. But they got some guys that the yards per reception were pretty impressive back then. Let's see. In order, the Giants teams of 63 had 57 touchdowns. 62 at 49 and 67, 49 touchdowns, scored more touchdowns than any other in franchise history. With the help of Thomas, Tittle was named the 63 NFL MVP after setting the Giants' record for touchdown passes in the season, which is 36. The record stands to this day, Giants record. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, I mean, it's 63. I mean, the Giants had 57 touchdowns. I mean, very impressive. Then, of course, player number 89, Jason Sehorn. I mean, it's just a shame, he tore his knee up in the preseason, returning a kickoff. Just, what was it, 1990? It was a second-round pick in 1994. I mean, obviously, he was the last white cornerback to play in the league. I mean, just it goes to show you what a phenomenal athlete he was, because we know, it is dominated by African Americans. I mean, who are unbelievable athletes. Period. Bar none. End of story. So if you're a white guy and you're and you become a starting cornerback in the NFL, that just goes to show you how good of an athlete you are. Okay, of course, then that was 20 years ago, but this goes to show you. I mean, it's nice to see that Sehorn made this list, and of course, the aforementioned Howard Cross, who played obviously a ton of games. He did Super Bowl champion. Of course, we went to the 2000. Weird, because his second year in the league, we went to the Super Bowl, and his second to last season in the league, we went to the Super Bowl. Thankfully, at least we won one Super Bowl 25, the one against the Ravens. I'm not even going to bother talking about that. But it's, what do we got here? Oh, here we go. Eli Manning. There are only 4 members of the 200 game club in Giants history. 4. Eli Manning with 236. Michael Strahan with 216. Cross with 207. And George Martin with 201. Cross's career spanned 2 generations of Giants that made it to the game's biggest game. He caught 4 passes for 39 yards. All resulted in first downs in the 2019 victory over the Buffalo Bills. A decade later, Cross helped the Giants reach Super Bowl 35. So, certainly Howard Cross, without question. I mean, just from his length of his career. I mean, let's see. He was with, just a 4? He started with Parcells, then he went to Hanley, right? Then we went to Reeves, and then he went to Fossil. So, he was 4 different coaches. Then number 87 was Corey Webster. I mean, that's a good pick right here. It's tough, it's really, it's some of this stuff is, who's 87? He deserves to be 87. He deserves to be 8. Whether Howard Cross is 88 or Sehorn's 87 or Webster's 85, whatever. But nice. These guys, I think, certainly deserve to be on it. Corey Webster, obviously, I'm sure most of us can, at least recall, right? Corey Webster. Obviously, the interception he had, right? Brett Favre-Nugan, right, in the 2007 championship game. He was, let's see. We didn't have a first-round pick in 2005 draft because we traded away to the Chargers to get Eli Manning in 2004. But we had 4 picks in the 2005 draft, so he was our first pick in the 2005. But it was in the second round. So that was just a really good, solid pick for the Giants. Really, really good pick. I'm really happy. Webster started 93 of 121 regular season games. He also started all 10 of his postseason outings. In his franchise, he is the franchise leader with 97 passes defense. His career 20 interceptions are tied for 10th in team history. So, yeah, a lot of receptions. All right, then, of course, Erich Barnes, number 86. Now, the thing with Erich, he only played 4 years for the Giants. We got him in 61, and we traded him back, I think, to the Browns. Or no, he wasn't. We traded him to the Browns. He came from the Cardinals, to say. The Bears. Okay. He wasn't the Chicago Cardinals. He was with the Chicago Bears. He played his first 3 seasons with the Chicago Bears, 58, 59, and 60. We got him in 61, 62, 63, and 64. 65, because we were just like, Ali Sherman just wanted to get younger. So, we traded away Sam Huff and Dick Modzelewski and, Erich Barnes. It's just, we traded away Rosie Greer. It's like, we just basically took the defense and just traded it all away. Way to go, Allie. But so Erich Barnes was here for just 4 seasons, but he was a very good player for the Giants in just 4 seasons, though. He set the 1961. He picked the pass off against the Cowboys in Dallas and ran it back 102 yards for a touchdown. Right. But very, very good pick. He was said after the Giants finished 2-10-2 in 64, the Giants traded him to Cleveland Browns, the team he had rooted for growing up. And unfortunately, the thing was, we traded him to the Browns for Mike Lucci and a 1966 third-round pick, which the Giants then traded to Detroit for Earl Morrall. So now the nice thing was Earl Morrall was a nice quarterback. He took 2 different teams to the Super Bowl, right? He didn't start in the 72, but he helped the Dolphins continue their undefeated season and their march to the Super Bowl in the 72 season. So he helped take them to the Super Bowl. But he played in the Super Bowl 3. Right? He also played in Super Bowl 5, right? And I said he was with the Dolphins for Super Bowl 7. So he's a decent quarterback, So the Giants had him for 2 seasons. The problem was that we traded Erich Barnes away. The one thing is that the Giants needed defense. We traded away a defensive player for a defensive player and a 3rd-round pick. But then we needed a quarterback because after Wyatt Tittle retired, we had like really nobody. So we had to get a quarterback. So we traded Mike Lucci away, who wound up being a fine linebacker, which the Giants certainly could have used. Because Mike Lucci's career lasted a while. Lasted a heck of a lot longer than the 2 years we had Earl Morrall here. But it is what it is. But Erich Barnes, good pick there. 85, gotta love him, Mr. Look at that Megget go, right? It was 5th-round pick in the 89 draft. Megget owned the NFL record for punt return yards with 3,708, a mark later broken by Brian Mitchell. To this day, Megget, a member of the Super Bowl 25 championship team, still owns the Giants record in punt return yards, 2,230. Punt average 11 yards punt return. I mean, he was always, every time he caught a punt, he was a threat to go all the way. Giants don't usually have that, So he was a special player, that is for sure. And Megget out of the backfield, it was a threat. Caught 231 passes for 2,194 yards and 10 touchdowns with the Giants. So good pick there. Can't complain, Dave Megget. 84, Ahmad Bradshaw, our last pick in the 2007 draft. Oh, yeah. Gotta love it. 1,000-yard rusher for the Giants. It helped the Giants, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Bradshaw deserves to be in any discussion of the most productive running backs in Giants history, where he ranks 7th in rushing yards, 4,232, 8th in carries with 921, and 9th in rushing touchdowns with 32. Can't argue there. 83, Kerry Collins. Can't argue there. He was only with the Giants for a short while, but what was it, 5 years? 99 to 3, 99, 2000, 1, 2, 3. like 5 years. So I guess it wasn't that. Yeah. But obviously, the 2000 season was so special. The guy could sling it. He could gun it. He man had an arm. When he was on, he was on. Let me tell you what, that Super Bowl once again, it was a tough game, just a tough game. But the 41-0 game we beat in the 2000 championship against the Vikings. I mean, we started early and hit them often. We were up 34-0, I believe, at halftime in that game. I mean, Kerry Collins, he's let's see. Does it say? He ranks third all-time among Giants quarterbacks in completions with 1,447, fourth in yards with 16,875, and sixth in touchdowns. He threw 81 touchdowns. Let's see. Signed him in 1999. Yeah. One of the best free agent signings in franchise history. Absolutely. No question. No question. That's a real good pick here. Kerry Collins, I really think this absolutely. Then we got Kareem McKenzie. Absolutely. This guy, let me tell you what, he was the rock, right? A tackle for the Giants for quite a few years. The quintet of Kareem McKenzie, David Deal, Soybert, O'Hara, and Snee started 38 consecutive games together, the longest such run by an offensive line since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. Every freaking week, the guys would just run out there. It's simply amazing. We can't even get 5 guys to play 38 consecutive plays together, much less 38 games. I mean, it's just simply amazing what those guys did back in the mid-2000s. Unbelievable. McKenzie ran the right tackle for 116 games. I mean, 2 thumbs up, Kareem. Thank you, brother. Man, what a rock that freaking guy was. I'm not saying he was a Hall of Famer, not like that, but I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic pickup for the Giants. He played 116 games from 2005 to 2011, including 11 postseason games and victories in Super Bowl 42 and 46. Originally a third-round pick by the Jets in 2001, McKenzie joined the Giants as an unrestricted free agent in 2005. Once again, another one of the all-time top free agent signings by the New York Giants. Fantastic pick. Let me tell you what. Let's see here. Just a rock solid guy. You know what I mean? And it's nice to say that. What do we got here? So we got Aaron Thomas. So we got a guy from the 60s. Jason Sion from like the 90s to the early 2000s. Cross from the 80s to the very early 2000s. Webster from the 2000s to the early 2010s. Erich Barnes. So we got another guy from the 60s. Thomas from the 60s. Erich Barnes from the 60s. Mega from the 80s and the 90s. Bradshaw from the 2000s to 2010. Kerry Collins from 1999 to 2003. Kareem McKenzie, so the early 2000s. Then we got Frank Cope, right? It's nice to see now we're going back. We're going back to the 30s because hard to believe, but there actually got guys on the Giants team who were pretty good back in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s. Now, Frank Cope was one of them. Now, he wasn't a phenomenal he was apparently on an all-decade team of the 30s, okay? But the man came in. It came in at 38. He played from 38 to 47. Giants went to 5 championship games and 1 playoff game in 6 of them in those 10 years. 38, 39, 41, 43, 44, and 46. Unfortunately, the only one we won was the 38. After that, it was all downhill. 39, we lost 27-0. 41, we lost 37-9. 43 was a playoff game to see who would go to the championship game. The Redskins beat us 28-0. I said Redskins. Sorry if I offend anybody. I don't really care. I'm going to say Redskins. You know why? Because they were called the Redskins back there. Anyway, the Giants weren't that great of a team in 43. They had to win their final 2 games of the season in 43 against the Redskins. to get into a playoff game against the Redskins to see who would go to the championship game to basically get annihilated by the Bears. So the Giants won the final 2 games of the season against the Redskins. So the playoff game was at the Polo Grounds against the Redskins. So you figure, we got this one, right? No, Sammy Baugh, we lost 28-0. We got our behinds handed to us. Then in 1944, we went to the championship game, and basically one of the missing ring seasons, I call it. We lost 14-7 to the Green Bay Packers. The game was played in the Polo Grounds. Right? We beat the Packers in the Polo Grounds earlier in the season. Well, when the championship game rolled around in 1944, the Packers had 3 weeks off. The Giants were beat up, banged up, every 10 ways to Tuesday. The Giants played the week before. And then he limped. Half their backfield couldn't play. One of the players, I can't remember who it was, tried to play. He played a couple plays or something like that, and something wrong with his foot or ankle, something. He couldn't play. So the Giants were just totally decimated by injuries. They played the week before. Well, the Packers had 3 weeks off. Had the Giants had 3 weeks off like the Packers did, the Giants lost 14-7. The outcome might have been different. Things like that don't happen nowadays. Where one team gets, like go to the Super Bowl, right? Well, the 49ers have 1 week off, and the Kansas City Chiefs have 3 months off before the rest up and relax and all that. I mean, like the Packers did. So we got screwed in 44. And in 46, the Giants lost 24-14. Game was played at the Polo Grounds. 2 of the Giant players got bribed. One of the guy got kicked out of the league, never played ever again. And Frankie Filchok said he didn't get bribed, but actually he did get bribed. I'm not sure if he took the bribe or not, but he did get bribed. He threw 6 interceptions for the Giants that day. The Giants lost 24-14. So you tell me, the guy threw 6 interceptions in a championship game. Did he take the bribe or not? The Bears wound up beating the Giants. So I don't know. But anyway, Frank Cope was a very, very good tackle for the Giants. It says here, even through his career, which just begun in 1938, somehow he was in the all-decade team of the 1930s. He played 2 seasons in the 30s, so I have no idea. That speaks to the immediate impact he made on the league and on the Giants, whom he helped win the championship in 1938. 3 other Giants, Mel Hein, Tuffy Lemons, and Ken Strong, made the all-decade team of the 30s, and all of them were eventually elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. By his second season, Cope was gaining attention as one of the NFL's best left tackles and was part of the 5 teams that played in the NFL championship game. He had 5 championship games and 1 playoff game, which they lost in 1943, 28-0. He was named to the Pro Bowl in 1938, 1940, and earned first team All-Pro honors in 1945. Let's see. He played at Santa Clara University in California and was inducted into the school's Hall of Fame in 1972. So just, it's nice to see that some of these old guys are getting some love. Oh, yeah, what's up, buddy? 2 giant goofballs in the podcast. Gotta love it. What's going on? So it's nice to see, once again, that some of these guys are, because a lot of these guys, you never heard of before, or a lot of these guys don't get a lot of notoriety. So it's nice to see they are going back in time. Because I'm sure, as I said, like with Tuffy Lemons, he's got to be in here. Ken Strong's got to be in there. Ward Cuff's got to be in there. His number's retired. Mel Hein, he's got to be in there. They might put, I don't know if they'll have Benny Friedman in there. He was the first. Joe Montana, man could throw a football. Giants had him for a few years. Tim Mara bought Tim Mara bought an entire team to get Benny Friedman. He bought the Detroit Wolverines after the 28 season. So Benny Friedman came over to the Giants in 29 and led the league in 3 straight seasons. He might be on this list as well too. So there are a lot of good guys, obviously, from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. So hopefully a few of them wind up making the list here. But it's hard to argue with anybody on that list. The thing is, let me see. Hold on. Was Kareem McKenzie 82 or should have been 83? Should Kerry Collins have been 86 or Everett Barnes should have been 80? I don't know if the numbers really matter all that much, but these are some real good, solid picks. That's for sure. I can't wait to see, how they, how it breaks down. I'm sure. I'm sure we all pretty much know who number one is, and it's not going to be Joe Pisarcik. I can tell you that much. But those are some real good picks, real good picks. I can't complain with any of those. What we got here? Then, well, I tell you what we did learn from. It seemed like Drake Maye. He seemed like he was the man. He seemed like he was the guy that the Giants possibly were favoring when they went over in Hard Knocks 2, right? Went over to talk to the Patriots about if they were going to do anything with the third pick overall, right? So possibly if they were going to move up to number 3, might have been from Maye. Now the thing is that when you got, you're not going to move up to number 3 if they were going to pick Maye, right? And then, then also, but here on Hard Knocks, Shane's kind of talking, and it was before the draft, as far as I know, right? He said, we need to find out, is Daniel Jones going to be our quarterback for the next 10 years? Well, I mean, if you move up to number 3 and you take Drake Maye, I don't see Daniel Jones hanging around for 10 years, but it is what it is. But it really seemed like the Giants were kind of wanted to land Maye. That's for darn sure. This is from what? SI.com. So New England Patriots landed Drake Maye with the 3rd overall pick, much to the chagrin of the New York Giants. As they star on HBO's first ever offseason edition of Hard Knocks, we are getting an inside look at the pre-draft process. Part of that process that we get to see is their pre-draft meeting with Maye, and how seemingly flawless it went for the eventual 3rd overall pick. In the clip, head coach Brian Daboll is quizzing Maye on the whiteboard, and the former North Carolina Tar Heel quarterback is trying it all relatively, almost right back at him. Like he's like, Maye's giving him some terminology, and then I think if I remember, Daboll was trying to change some of the play calling up or something like that. But Maye seemed like he was keeping up on it. Unlike the one thing was like with Daniels, the one thing which did not really impress me with Daniels was, I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy's phenomenal athlete, all that stuff and everything. But the one thing that didn't really thrill me to death was with Daniels was Daboll asked him something. They said, they were talking about a certain play, a certain passing play, and Daboll then went ahead and asked them, said, well, what if there's, what if it's single coverage or something like that? What are you going to do? And, I'm sure he was looking for a different answer. All Daniels could come up with, throw a touchdown pass. Okay. So I'm not so sure if, Daniels was maybe high on I mean, I'm sure talent-wise and all that stuff and everything. But just the way it looked on Hard Knocks, looks like Drake Maye did a very good job. I mean, you got one of the things they were talking about with Caleb Williams as well, too. They started like 6-0, I believe it was, USC, and then they lost 5 of their final 6 games, I think it was, something like that. And he refused to talk to the media. I mean, I guess you could do that, but that's not going to sit real well here in New York. I mean, one thing with Daniel Jones, you can hate him and this and make fun of him and all that stuff and whatnot and all, but if he's asked to come to the media and talk to the media, he talks to the media. I'm not sure he doesn't love it, sure he doesn't enjoy it, sure he doesn't want to do it, but he does it. Caleb is, I don't know, he seems, a little, I don't know. He might be a hard sell for him to come here in New York. I'm not sure. He seems like he might be a little, A little too sensitive, maybe. Let's see. The rest of the league's losses the Patriots gained as they landed a massive arm quarterback with wits to give him an unlimited upside. Who knows when Maye will see the field, but it's only a matter of time before his era begins in New England, as he is too talented to keep off the field. So, absolutely. Definitely pulling for him. I mean, without question, my goodness. I mean, yeah. they need a quarterback there. They need a quarterback. So once again, now is it going to be it's going to be week 1, going to be week 2, week 5, week whatever. But I'm rather shocked if he doesn't make his entrance onto the field sometime this season. They say they need a quarterback, and the more I mean, the one thing I like about where the Patriots are at, if you want to call that, is they ain't going to no Super Bowl. I don't care how good David Mayo is or nothing like that, or they're not going to no Super Bowl. They got nothing to lose by putting Drake Maye out there. The only thing is, you don't want the guy getting killed. So hopefully they got some, some offensive linemen that can keep him upright. But, any snaps he takes is going to be absolutely freaking priceless. And you also look like this, too. If you put him out there and things has a rough season and things don't go that well at all, and your record stinks, well, guess what? You're picking top 5 again. Next season, you can go out and you can get him a nice tackle. You get him a good wide receiver, whatever. You can get a stud on defense or something like that. So, but where the Patriots are at, if they put him out week 1, as long as he doesn't wind up getting killed, those snaps would be absolutely priceless for him. So, I mean, this is like this season here. It's like a gimme. You don't even, I mean, Mayo's got this. This is one of those mulligan seasons. You just write this season off, right? All right, then things we learned from Hard Knocks. I went over some of this the other night, but the salary cap shocker. Shane was like sitting at his I think he had his feet up on the table. I think it was, or something like that. He saw his phone and it went off because he thought the salary cap was $240. And he looked at the phone and he put it down. I guess he went to an email and it said the new salary cap is $255.4. Then I can't remember. He started talking to somebody. I can't remember who it was. But it was like, went up $15 million. Says, like the rest of the NFL, the Giants and general manager Joe Shane were shocked when the official salary cap number for 2024 came in at $255.4. Wow. Shane repeated. 26 probably thinking he's getting Jonathan Taylor money now. Director of Pro Scouting Chris Rossetti tells Shane on the phone. That's who it was, Chris Rossetti. The GM reveals the Giants had operated under the assumption that the cap would be set at around $240. The additional bump in camp certainly excited Shane and company. Xavier McKinney. Throughout the episode, the Giants expressed an apparent desire to re-sign Xavier McKinney. That began during the salary cap reveal when Shane mentioned his specifically while also discussing running back Saquon Barkley. Maybe we can get something done with X now, depending on where that goes. At the Combine, Shane was made aware that McKinney had subtly and not so subtly addressed his contract situation on social. Oh, yeah, it was just, I was not impressed at all, by the way. Not impressed at all by why some of these guys go to social media. He addressed his contract situation. At the time, he still seemed interested in re-signing the safety, but didn't sound quite as confident as he had earlier. Before the start of free agency, it sounded like the Giants would offer McKinney a one-off deal with an expiration date of 1 week. But McKinney just basically just show me the money. That's all he was cared about. That's all he cared about. Press conferences are prepared. Oh yeah. Shane was drilled beforehand. Absolutely. Privately, Shane griped about Barkley turning down an earlier contract offer, something that's been a common theme over the first 2 episodes. In the first episode, the GM said he lost 10 years off his life negotiating with the superstar back to no avail. The situation with Barkley continued to sour over time, which was detailed further later in the episode. Absolutely. Well, apparently Saquon wasn't really all that set on getting his name up in the Ring of Honor, I guess. So is what it is. Let's see what we got. And then rookie scouting. The episode focused very heavily on the Giants scouts and their process ahead of the 2024 NFL draft, as well as information sharing. Before the NFL Combine, top scouts sat at the round table and broke down the prospects from Caleb Williams to Malik Neighbors. Of note, college area scout Blaze Bell questioned whether or not Williams would be able to handle the pressures of playing in New York. USC ended up losing 5 of his last 6 games, so just seeing how he dealt with that adversity, Bell said. He refused to talk to the media after the UCLA game. Obviously, coming into our market, that's a no-no. Absolutely. So, I mean, he seems like Caleb Williams. I'm not sure if he could have handled here very well. They had eyes on Neighbors early. Giant scouts had eyes on wide receiver Malik Neighbor early in the college season, had him at the top target long before the NFL Combine began. But they were equally intrigued by Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rome Odunze. During the Combine, the Giants spent a lot of time with the trio of receivers, keeping especially close eye on Odunze and Neighbors. Their interviews were both very interesting. I mean, I guess they also thought that there was a good chance that maybe quite possibly that Harrison was going to be gone before now. It just wound up happening. I hate losing more than I love winning, Neighbors told Dable before admitting he grows frustrated when not getting the ball. If I am not in those plays and not getting the ball, I'm pretty hard on it. But, I mean, Dable didn't seem to have much of a problem with that. Shane went over and started chatting with the Patriots. Before the Combine even began, there were reports that the Giants were attempting to trade up in the NFL draft for a quarterback. Some reports even suggested they had spoken with the Patriots. That hadn't happened yet, but it was about to. Shane made his way from the Giants booth to the Patriots, where he pulled Elliott Wolf aside to plant the seed, a potential trade. It wasn't an aggressive offer or even a guaranteed deal, just Shane asking that if the Patriots reach out, they do decide to make a move back. Wolf admitted he had similar conversations with multiple teams. You could hear that on Hard Knocks. Harness the competitiveness. Ooh. While interviewing Neighbors at the Combine, Dable told the wide receiver he doesn't mind him having competitive juices, but said that he needs to learn to harness it. That came with a personal admission. Sometimes you lose it, Dable said. I lose it, too, as a coach, but you've got to learn how to harness that. As funny as the words fell off Dable's tongue, Shane could be seen giving Dable a side eye and a sly smile before grabbing his shoulder and laughing, which is true. Yep. All right, what do we got here next? Giants discussed Neighbors with Daniel Jones. Even before the Combine, Shane reached out to quarterback Daniel Jones to talk about Neighbors. I talked to Daniel about it. Daniel already looked at him. Shane said he loves him. He loves him. Brown said, yeah. Although the Giants were also looking at quarterbacks, this exchange between Shane and Brown is telling. Dable and the 40. Oh, yeah. Dable said, I can guarantee you I can run a 7-second 40. I don't know about that. I said, but he was saying something about putting a plate of chicken wings down at the end of the 40-yard line. He said he could run a 7-second 40. Last thing, one of his things here says, sour Saquon. In the final moments of episode 2, Shane talked with Ed Berry, the agent of Saquon Barkley, and explained that they didn't want to disrespect him with a lacking offer. Instead, Shane explained they'd allow him to test the open market. After the chat, Shane called Barkley, who sounded uninterested in the conversation and somewhat frustrated with the GM. Yep, he didn't sound very excited at all. Can you give me your word on that? Not going to give us a chance? Shane asked Barkley about the potential match in any free agent offer. I mean, I already told you where I want to be, a chilly Barkley said as his voice trailed off. Yep, he did not sound very excited at all. So he has his money. He's not with the Giants no more, so obviously he's happy. So if he doesn't want to be here, sayonara. Burns the apple of Shane's eye. Oh, yeah. Throughout the episode, the Giants danced around edge rusher Brian Burns and possible trade. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, while at the NFL Combine, expressed excitement at the prospect of adding Burns. At no point did the episode focus solely on Burns or show any conversations between the Giants and Carolina Panthers. But it was a persistent background theme. In the preview for episode 3, it becomes apparent why NFL Films did that. Burns and his trade to New York will be a primary feature next Tuesday night. So get your popcorn ready. Those yeah, there were other things too, but those were certainly some of the main pointers. That's for sure. A lot of good juicy stuff. Got a lot of good juicy stuff. I love it. All right, and finally here, the Giants are going to dominate. Well, that's what Bobby Okereke said. Giants from Giants Wire. Giants Bobby Okereke. Shane Bowen-led defense will dominate in 2024. Okay, bring it on, baby. Sign me up for that. One of the biggest storylines in the early part of the Giants offseason was the confusing and ugly departure of Wink, unfortunately. But Giants would eventually replace him with Shane Bowen, who worked as the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator the previous 3 seasons. Now, and you also remember, too, right, in the Hard Knocks 1, right, how it was we have a phone. I guess Dable had a phone. He's showing some stats or whatever it was to Shane. Yeah, I'm going to offer the job to. I can't remember. He said I'm going to offer it to Shane, or I'm going to offer it to Bowen, or whatever it was. But he's like showing him, showing Shane like the stats and all that. And he said after he got done, he said, "Man, can we get our run defense to put these numbers up, please," or something like that. I mean, because basically the last 2 seasons, I mean, Dable's been handcuffed. It's like, yeah, okay, we'll give up 5 yards of carry running the ball. You know what I mean? But that shouldn't be the case this year. With good in the red zone, and good run defense. Bowen ain't going to be putting on as much pressure. We may not get as many turnovers as we did, especially last season with Wink, which wound up being huge in a few of the games. But there are going to be some other things. There's got to be the give and take, right? But hopefully a better run defense will be something we can expect this season. Let's hope. Let's see. Linebacker Bobby Okereke, who had arguably his best season in his first year with the Giants uniform under Martinez, seems to be excited about the defense under Shane Bowen. Okereke previously spoke highly of his expectations about the Giants' defense heading into the 2024 season. Now he's at it again, praising Bowen during an appearance on Up and Adams with Kay Adams. It's almost about as 180 of a flip as it can be, Okereke said, going from Wink. I love that system, attacking, blitzing all the time. If you're a defensive player, you got to like that stuff, right? To go into Shane Bowen. He's very methodical, probably one of the most cerebral defensive coordinators I've ever been around. Just the way he sees the game, the way he's going to call it, the way he coaches it, the attention to detail. Yeah, I think we're going to dominate this year, and it's going to be led by him. Okay, baby. Yeah. The thing is, we added edge rusher, right? We still got Dex, right? We added a cornerback. We brought Ximines back. We got our guys, the interior linebackers. The one thing that we did wind up losing was Xavier McKinney. Can Nubin, Pinnock, can they be as effective without McKinney there? I'll have to wait and see. Nubin, will he have some learning to do? Yeah. Well, it might be a learning curve or whatever. Yeah, but can he pass? He's a second rounder. Xavier McKinney was a second rounder. Can Nubin be as good as Xavier McKinney somewhere along the line? Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So Martindale brought out the best in a few players like Okereke, Kayvon, and Dexter. It will be interesting to see how the strengths of the Giants defense shifts the Bowen system. Of course, the addition of elite pass rusher Brian Burns is only going to help the Giants' strong front seven. Okereke played every defensive snap for the Giants last season and arguably should have been a Pro Bowler. Yeah, I don't know what they're smoking or not to have him in there. Don't know. But with the change to Bowen, the Giants' defensive approach is going to look a lot different in 2024. However, clearly Okereke is confident in what his new defensive coordinator brings to the table. So I'm all for it. I mean, I'm very excited about, let's see what Barnesy can do. Absolutely finally we've got our 2 edge rushers, right? Hopefully they can stay healthy, and I'm sure one will feed off the other, without question. All right, guys, it's been almost 1 hour and 5 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. As always, 2 giant goofballs. Thanks for the comment, brother. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks for staying up with me. So as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo!